There's a moment in some marriages that doesn't look dramatic. There's no shouting, no slammed doors, no final warning, just a quiet realization. The moment he realizes, he feels alone. Not single, not abandoned, alone inside his own marriage. And that realization doesn't break him immediately. It changes him slowly. It wasn't always like that. There was a time when he felt chosen, when conversations flowed naturally, when laughter didn't feel forced, when coming home felt comforting instead of tense. He used to share things, his stress, his doubts, his plans. He believed marriage meant partnership, not performance. But somewhere along the way, something shifted. The shift didn't happen overnight. It happened in small interactions. When he spoke and felt corrected instead of understood. When he opened up and felt analyzed instead of supported. When he expressed frustration and was told he was overreacting. He started noticing something. Every conversation felt like evaluation. Every disagreement felt like accusation. And slowly, he began speaking less. Not because he had nothing to say, but because saying it felt pointless. Silence doesn't always mean peace. Sometimes silence means surrender. He stopped explaining himself, stopped defending himself, stopped trying to clarify misunderstandings, because every attempt to fix things seemed to make them worse. So he adapted. He became careful with his words, measured with his emotions, reserved with his vulnerability. And on the outside, it looked like maturity, but inside, it was distance growing. He still showed up. He still worked, still paid the bills, still handled responsibilities. From the outside, nothing looked broken, but inside, something felt missing. He could sit next to her and still feel miles away. He could sleep beside her and still feel untouched. He could talk to her and still feel unheard. That's when the loneliness became real. Not because she left, but because connection did. There is a specific kind of exhaustion that comes from trying alone, planning alone, fixing alone, initiating alone. At some point, he started noticing the imbalance. He was always the one reaching, always the one adjusting, always the one apologizing first. And slowly, a question formed in his mind. What happened if I stopped trying? Not out of anger, out of curiosity. And when he pulled back, he noticed something painful. Nothing changed. That's when he realized how alone he truly felt. After that realization, something inside him settled. He stopped expecting deep conversations, stopped expecting appreciation, stopped expecting affection. He didn't become cruel. He didn't become loud. He became calm, but distant. The version of him that once fought for closeness was replaced with a version that protected his peace, because peace, even lonely peace, felt better than constant emotional effort without return. When a man feels alone in his marriage, he doesn't always leave. Sometimes he stays. But he stops leaning in, stops opening up, stops believing it can be different. And the tragedy is this. By the time his partner notices the distance, he has already adjusted to it. He has already learned to live without emotional closeness. Men don't always need grand gestures. They need partnership. They need respect. They need to feel like they matter. And when that disappears, they don't explode. They detach quietly, slowly, until one day they realize they've been alone for a long time. Not because love was impossible, but because connection was neglected. And once emotional loneliness becomes normal, rebuilding it requires more than work. It requires awareness, effort, mutual vulnerability, because no one should feel alone inside a relationship meant to bring them peace.